We're going to install this YARDCARE E400 perimeter wire robot lawnmower. So you have the robot itself. Okay, so this is the robot here. This is the blade. You get your two wheels here. This is the cutting wheel. Okay, you see these move? That's on purpose. Okay, they're double-sided blades, so once you use one side, you can flip them over. This is where it charges. It charges with the front. It's got a rain sensor perimeter. It's got some buttons on the top. This is where you adjust the height of the cut, and this is a giant stop button. This is the docking station, so this is where it charges. It will self-charge itself once it gets to less than 20%. These stakes, and you have this perimeter wire. Okay, this is what gets installed in your lawn. And then you have to obviously plug this in somewhere. It needs some kind of power, so this is the power plug. All right, so the first thing we're gonna do is we're going to place the docking station. Now, when I set mine up, I'm gonna use it, I'm actually gonna cut the first time, just this area right here, okay, you see in front of here. Ideally, you'd wanna probably install this next to your house. This has an in, and this has an out. Okay, so if you're gonna be doing a giant circle like this, when you orient this needs to be on the inside. This needs to face the inside of whatever you're cutting, okay? So, it would be like something like so. They also include a gauge here. So this is a 30 centimeter, I believe, gauge, but I just went and actually made myself a wood one out of wood just because it's easier to work with wood. This has to be this distance off of the perimeter. So let's pretend this was my house, this flower bed. This has to be installed 30 millimeters beyond it. Now I know what you're thinking. That seems pretty far away from the house, because what we're saying is this is the edge of the house. But honestly, you should not have grass. If this was your house, you should not have grass this far up to your house. I would recommend, if you're doing something like this, you should probably have some kind of like rock or stone up to the foundation of your house. To make it a little more realistic, I'll even add some stones here. Now this wire kind of reminds me of speaker wire. All right, maybe I should go with wire strippers. I'm gonna get some wire strippers. All right, so we stripped it. Some wire strippers. What we need to do is we have the plus and minus. We need to start with the plus. Okay, so the plus, basically just hold it down there like speaker wire. Then we take this and we actually run it down the bottom, and it's gonna come out the front. All right, so we're gonna feed this in, and I'm gonna leave a little extra inside. All right, now what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna sort of just loosely lay the wire around the perimeter. What we need to do is when we loosely run this around, we need to bring it all the way back into a complete loop. So the other side has to attach into the negative. All right, so I have a lot of extra, and I don't want to cut this, so I just ran the whole reel out. You can see there's a lot of wire in here. I was able to run it around all of this. I don't know, I think it does more than it advertises. I think it advertises around 1/4 of an acre to 1/2 of an acre. I don't know, maybe they can, but I'm going all the way around here. The wire's longer than it advertises. All right, now we have our wire kind of loosely where it's supposed to be. Now we need to actually place it in using these stakes, okay? These are the stakes here. And what you need to do is you need to keep the wire the same exact 30 centimeters or whatever it is away from the wall. So I'm gonna use this piece of wood. That's why I made myself a piece of wood. And then you have to put a stake every 40 inches. So I'm just gonna use my feet. My feet are around 12 inches. So I'll just go 4 steps. Every 4 steps, that's where I'll place a stake. And this is green, right? So we want to kind of push it into the grass a little bit so it sort of disappears, right? But there we go. You might be able to see this in the beginning of the season, but I'm sure by the end of the season, this will completely go away. All right, and now we're connecting it into the negative here. Now that we have the wire in, we're gonna run in these giant stakes, and these stakes just basically hold this into the ground, okay? Very similar to a lot of other style. The one thing I will say, if you're putting this in the dead of summer and your grass is like really dry, it's gonna be hard to get these stakes in because they're plastic. And you definitely wanna use plastic, you don't wanna use metal. So maybe wait till you have a good rain, or maybe run your sprinklers for a while to kind of wet the grass to make it easier to get these stakes in. Because I could imagine in the dead of summer, getting these plastic stakes in the ground would probably result in a lot of broken stakes. If the ground is that dry, your grass will probably really appreciate it anyway. I want to take this. This is a nice like weatherproof plug. It has a little grommet on there to like keep all the water out, and it does have a key. Just want to check that key and plug this in. And then you put this little collar over it, and that like really ties it in there and makes it nice and waterproof. And then we gotta go plug this in. Robot goes in like this. All right, so I got the app on, and what I noticed is this isn't turning on, and because it's a user error, of course, there's a button under here. It's a master on and off switch right here. Turn that on, plug it in. There we go. So now this will probably find it within the app. Easy app, you just install it. See there, you click on the device. All right, so you can see it found the device. See if it finds it, yep. And you can see it even tells me the battery life down there is 80% down at the bottom right. And we're gonna start this off. And it's mowing. It's off to the races. No, probably should. So you can see what it did. It went right up to the wire, it looks like. And then it turns around. So what this tells me is this wire is where it cuts. Everything inside this wire, I believe. That's my assumption right now. Let's see. Let's let this go for a little bit. Yep, see that collision sensor work? Now it's gonna go somewhere else. Now I probably messed up the entire algorithm. But all right, we're gonna let this go for a little bit. We're gonna see exactly how it cuts. All right, so now it seems to be doing the edging, and you kind of can see what it's doing now. It's trying to, that's why you put it that far away from. So when it goes to do the edging, oh. All right, now it's gonna go back and redock and charge itself. Install the wire. You want it into the ground, you know, just a little bit. You want it at the grass level. So I got thinking, you probably could use something along the lines of like an edger. So if I take this, I can sort of cut a channel, right? I can cut a nice little channel in the grass where you put the wire in, you know, and then just sort of go like this and you never would see that channel. All right, but of course your grass has to be pretty soft. In the middle of summer, I know this one might be a little hard, so that's why I keep going back to, you may want to use a, it's coming now. You may want to wait till your grass is wet. This is the spring right now. All right, one thing I want to just quickly show you is the bottom of this thing after the first couple mows. Looks like most of the grass just sits in this cup here, or in this dish. There's not much grass elsewhere. So if I was to wax this, yeah, if I was to wax it, this turns into glue, I would wax this ring. So I probably would take this off. What I should have done is taken this wheel off and actually wax this with like some kind of like car wax. And that would keep the grass and stuff to, you know, sticking to it. Because it's weird, when this grass gets wet, it becomes like glue. Everything looks good, the blades are okay. I don't see any dings in them or anything. They seem to be in pretty good shape. Bottom looks pretty good. This is the carrying handle. All right, good. All right, so this is where we're going to end this video. I hope this helped you understand how you're supposed to set this robot up, okay? What did we learn? We learned you do need to listen to the directions, and you probably do need to keep this away from the edge of whatever you're deciding to cut, about 11 inches like it says, okay? Because the robot does actually drive at the end over the wire, okay? So it will come out like out here. All right, at first I thought I saw it come up and stop and turn around. I went, that's ridiculous. This is where it goes. I can run this all the way to a wall. You can't. The robot still needs that extra space. If I was installing this, I would definitely use the edger, like I showed you, to make it like a little bit of a trench. You don't want to go too deep. Measure is the distance that this wire is, because I feel like the wire will cover a lot more distance than they advertise. I didn't think I was going to be able to even do all of this. So real quick, what we're going to do is we're actually going to take this wire and we're going to find out exactly how long. All right, so we have this all unraveled, this wire. I'm not sure if you can see it. 1, 2, 3. We ran it up and down 3 times. So it's around 300 feet of wire. I would say a little over actually 300 feet of wire. So if you have 300 feet of perimeter, this could probably do the inside of it. So I hope this video was helpful. If it was, please like, please subscribe. Please leave me a comment down below. If you want to pick this up, I'll put a link to it down below. I'm Mike, Found with YTV, and I'm out.